who will be joining us virtually, as you can also see. Anil Gurnani, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer, TTK Prestige, would also be joining with us. Can we have a huge round of applause, because I'm sure you're all refreshed. Come on, everybody. Thank you.
Hello. I believe so. So, how's it going, guys? It's been, I think, quite a long day for all of you. So, I hope you guys are having a good time, deriving insights, having meaningful conversations, hearing them out. So, I have a very esteemed panel with me with over 60 plus years of cumulative marketing and sales experience. And I'll try my best to derive the most meaningful insights in a topic which.
I can't hear Ishan.
Sorry. Yeah. So like I was saying, I would try my best to derive the most meaningful insights in this wonderful topic that we have today, which is embracing diversity. Interestingly, there's a reasonable unity diversity that we have in our panel as well. So I have a fellow marketing leader in the fintech space in Ram. I have Lakshman with me, who represents the financial services space when it comes to the overall scheme of things, and then I have Anil with me, who comes from the kitchen appliances and consumer durable space. So there is quite a bit of spectrum that we can cover here. So without much ado, let me begin. Talking about diversity, the interesting part about that keyword is that it's something that is very synonymous with India. So you talk about India, you talk diversity, right? If you ask a 10-year-old,
Ishan, I can't hear you.
yeah, so if you ask a 10-year-old kid to write an essay on India, and you create a word cloud out of that, the most highlighted word probably is going to be diversity, right? So we all know that how diverse India is. In the global context, it's something that I believe is very unique to the Indian ecosystem as well. So when you talk about, the Western Europe, you talk about the US, you even talk about China in the Far East, there's a relative homogeneity when it comes to the languages they speak, the kind of culture they believe in, the religion they follow, the kind of income groups that they represent. But when it comes to India, right, there's a huge heterogeneity when it comes to all these parameters. And hence is my first question to the panel over here, that in an economy, in a country which is as diverse, as spread out as India with respect to demographics, geography, belief system, religion, region, is diversity a boon or a bane? Or in other words, is there a bigger opportunity or a bigger challenge when it comes to diversity, totally with respect to marketing to such an audience? And when we talk about marketing to such an audience, how do you believe is the approach that would differ when it comes to approaching a diverse audience versus a homogeneous audience? Over to the panel. We'll start with Lakshman, maybe.
Am I audible?
Yes, Lakshman, you are.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Ishan, for this opportunity, and Adgully for having me here. Now, when it comes to customization on the marketing campaign, when it comes to Ujjivan, there are primarily 4 customer segments. One is primarily the savings account and the fixed deposit, where we target the middle class and the HNI segment primarily in a very big way. Then we have the micro banking segment, which is the lower middle class, to whom we retail loans at all levels. Then we have the housing, vehicle loan, and the MSE segment, which is primarily the middle class, and then of course the rural space. Now let me pick up 3 customer segments here. The first is in terms of savings account and fixed deposits. Now we took an innovative route when it came to launch branches in the tier 2, tier 3 markets. For example, when we did the Bareilly launch in UP, now Bareilly is very famous for jhumkas. So rather than saying that no, we are now present in Bareilly, no, we went with a tagline saying Jhumka Bareilly wala, banking Ujjivan wali. And our Ujjivan logo had the imagery relating to Bareilly. Or for that matter, when we launched in Bhopal, Bhopal is known for a lake where people stroll during the day and especially during the evenings with which said, "Aap pair sapate lagao, banking ke liye hum hai." Okay, or for that matter, when we launched in Tiruvalla, which is famous for its river, may abundance flow in Tiruvalla like its rivers do. Or for that matter, when we did Perambur in Chennai, we said finances on track for the city that keeps India on track, because Perambur is known for the railway locomotives. So in each of these instances, we customize our communication so that we could relate to the audience out there, and this was quite well received by the customers in the relevant catchments. So this is one fine example of how we have customized our campaign. Now, when 75 years of Indian independence happened, we tweaked our FD interest rates to 7.5% for 75 weeks, and we ran a 360 campaign across the board, and it had a resounding response to the entire piece. So this is one way of how we localize in terms of what's happening in the community or what's happening in the region, and how do we make ourselves relevant in form of communication. Now, when it comes to the micro banking segment, we already have an app in 9 languages, and we thought a micro banking customer would adopt by choosing the language of that app and get on with it. But that didn't happen because we realized that they had numerous challenges simply because they could neither read nor write. So any form of app was useless. So this February, we launched India's first voice visual vernacular mobile app, where the customer, through their voice and in their local dialect, could do banking through the app. Because of which there have now been an increase in terms of the app adoption, because over a period of time, to a micro banking base, for us to become sustainable and profitable, digital is the way. And we found that answer to the voice vernacular medium. So this is the second instance that we have done. In terms of the rural segment, now very often, while postman is a anachronism when it comes to metro and urban, but it is still valid in the rural space. So we did an activity across the country where we got our promoter dressed as a postman, because postman is still trusted and invited and welcomed. He is treated as part of the community, as part of the family, because that's where the conversations happen across in terms of who's doing what and what's happening in the village. So we actually dressed them as a postman, and we reached out and spoke about what Ujjivan has to offer, and across what's happening in the community also. So this was also well received. So the point is, how do you look at what's there in the environment, and how do you create and tailor make your activity or your communication? So that's how we continue, while at the same time ensuring that the balance, brand balance is maintained in terms of the equity, look and feel, while staying customized and being relevant to the consumer.
Awesome. I think nice insights, Lakshman. Ram, any thoughts you want to add to this?
Check. लक्ष्मण ने बहुत बोल दिया, अब राम क्या बोलेगा? Sorry, because of the amount of time we had, we were joking a lot downstairs. We already had our own little session. We missed Lakshman because he was not here. I quite agree with a lot of things that Lakshman has mentioned. What I would like to say is, look, for us, diversity is reality. There is no other market that we are going after. Our entire India is diverse. So that's just what it is. There is no choice for us to sort of figure something else out, or there's no alternative. So language is already something that he has mentioned, you also mentioned, but there is a lot more diversity in other things, choices, media choices, purchasing power. There is huge variation in the way people operate depending on the industry they are in. So when we are targeting small businesses across the country, whether it's Andaman or Lakshadweep or Arunachal, Jammu and Kashmir, everywhere, there is still a commonality. And what we identified, that was purely access to capital. Access to money is such a big problem for a small business. It's a lot easier for a salaried person to walk into a bank, get respected and get a loan. But that's not the same for a small business. So we identified that as a commonality and spoke to that. That for us was bringing the diversity aspect, yet being very, very true to what everyone needed. We focused primarily on addressing that need. As long as we are doing that, multiple languages, different kind of content, various media choices, and we can talk about media strategies also, because marketing strategy will be divided into content and media. And a lot of times when we're looking at issues such as diversity, we end up focusing a lot more on content. But there is a lot more to do with media also that we can think of in terms of handling the diversity aspect of it. But it's a strength, it's brilliant, it's a very interesting place to market anything, I would say.
Awesome. Anil?
Hi. Hello, everyone. Definitely whatever Lakshman and Ram talked about, just to add to it and trying to relate it to our industry. Okay, definitely since from a kitchen appliances industry, okay, our category has been the most, involved category. Okay, and it actually reflects lots of culture diversity that everyone has. Okay, whatever cosmopolitan, wherever we live, Okay, but our eating habits, our kitchen appliances will remain as per the inner culture that we have been built up with. Okay, so for us in TTK Prestige, we live with diversity in and out, okay, whole day, because all our product strategy, the marketing strategy, the communication strategy, all depends on where you want to target, what kind of consumer it is, and what are its habits are. So just to give an example, okay, for example, when I'm going and marketing a pressure cooker, okay, in North, I will look at inner lid cooker, okay, because that is where the culture is. Everyone there has an inner lid cooker. When I go to South, it is outer lid cooker. It's the same cooker performing, but definitely I can't miss out these things. There are, you know, for example, a usage of a mixer grinder as an appliance also varies a lot as per geography. Okay, when I go to South, it will be a 1000-watt mixer, cutting coconut, cutting masalas and all. But I go to North, it will be more of a juicer application over there. So it will be a lesser wattage application mixer grinder over there. And honestly, it's a learning process. At least I have been, wherever I go to market, now also, I learn new things. You know, how a consumer can use the same product in a different way, okay, as per his diversity and culture over there. Just to give you a small example, in my early organization, we saw that, you know, washing machines are being sold much in Punjab. The volumes of sale that washing machine has is tremendous in Punjab. So we were surprised, you know, why washing machine will sell in Punjab? What has happened over there? But we went over there, we realized lassis are being made in washing machines over there. Well, you never would have thought of. Okay, so these kind of things can only happen in India. Okay, because every region, everywhere, okay, the outputs are different. In fact, you know, we see a same appliances for us, how it is getting used in various geographies in a very different way, which we wouldn't have also thought of while launching that product over there. Okay, and there are lots of, you know, religious things also. So for example, in Andhra and Karnataka, Vijayawada, you can't launch a 3-burner gas stove. It's inauspicious over there. Okay, so you either they take 2-burner or a 4-burner gas stove over there. Okay, so these small things you can't really miss out. At least in our industry, it's very critical over there. And one is on the terms of product, so in terms of communications also. So when we make our offers, consumer offers, and what we communicate is totally different from state to state, because that state habits are totally different. Now I can't have a, you know, a outer lid cooker consumer offer in North over there, or I can't have a juicer mixer grinder offer in Kerala over there, because it won't work over there. So for us, it's day in, day out, as I said, me and my whole team. Actually, you know, each and every aspect that we look at into marketing is state level. What we want to target, in terms of product strategy also, what we want to make. But the core belief of TTK Prestige has been same, whatever products we make for different geographies. Definitely one thing we believe, that whatever we are, we will enter into a category and get into that where we can add value. Okay, what are the consumer pain points? If we are able to solve that in those categories only with, that's the reason why we try to innovate in any category that we have. Okay, pressure cooker was an innovation of TTK Prestige to start with. Then you have the Swachh gas stoves. You know, I don't know if many people would have seen how easy to clean. We saw the pain points of consumers, you know, of how the cleaning of gas stoves is over there. Okay, now we have launched whistle counting induction cooktop, because counting pressure cooker whistles is very difficult and key in the household. So we launched an induction cooktop which can count your pressure cooker whistles automatically and switches off once you have set it over there. So these things are definitely, these are the core values that in an organization we have. So wherever we go, in various cultures and diversity, wherever products we launch, but these are the core things that we look into. And as Lakshman also said, honestly, this is nothing that you can avoid of. Okay, this is something you have to live with it. And this throws tremendous opportunities, in fact, I would say. I won't say it's a challenge, it's an opportunity, because with these kinds of changes and usage, you get lots of opportunities on various categories that you can get into over there. Okay, but for 10 years back, who would have heard of induction cooktop, kettles and all those stuff? But with COVID and all those things, these categories have evolved in such a way that nobody would have thought of at that time. Yeah.
I think there is one thing, if I can mention, the original Prestige campaign line was such a unifying thing, right? जो बीवी से
जो बीवी से करे प्यार वो प्रेस्टीज से
पूरे
कर
इंडिया का कोई हस्बैंड मना नहीं कर सकता कहीं का भी हो.
Now that we change to जो अपनों से करे प्यार, because we don't want to sound it male chauvinist. Because nowadays, you know, husbands are also cooking in the houses.
I think that's the beauty of having people from different backgrounds talking about the same topic. So we had quite a few diverse insights coming in, right? So Lakshman very elaborately talked about customizing your communication to the audience that you're catering to, because they'll be able to relate to that communication a lot better once you have a communication that hits your emotional chord in the right way. Ram very well mentioned about parking the diversity for a moment, but identifying that unifying thread that correlates to the proposition that you're trying to solve, and keep your communication simple while keeping the medium communication mix around it, but keeping the core communication consistent across the spectrum, which will help you standardize as well as customize as we go along, which we'll talk in a bit. And Anil very well instantiated a few instances or references of how the SKUs or the kind of products that you have can be customized for such a diverse audience. There is no one size fits all, so you can have a portfolio of offerings where different offerings would be more relevant to different parts of the audience, and that is how your strategy of communication, and to take a step back, even the business can be led. So beautiful. I think that starts on a very beautiful note. Seems like we have a time buzzer over here, so I'll just put a couple of questions for larger understanding overall. Ram, you mentioned about the media mix, right, and the marketing strategy. So let's go a little deep on that. For a geography or for a economy which is as diversified when it comes to such things, how would you typically evaluate and execute your media mix and communication? Go a little granular on that for all of us. And at the same time, how is this different from a performance marketing standpoint versus a brand marketing standpoint? Since we are short on time, I'll request you to sum it up in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Quickly, you could address that part.
Yeah, sure. One big advantage of having digital media, it's a fairly level playing field when it comes to consumption. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, what have you, all of these have really helped us reach a significant amount of our audience very quickly. Now, what we are conscious of is obviously language is one thing, which is obvious, but there is much more to it than just the language. The kind of content that we want to put out, and there is no other way but to experiment. So we have done so many experiments to figure out what works in which market, to what kind of segments. Being a regulated entity, we cannot approach a customer unless they have given their consent to us. But whenever we do get that consent, we know a little bit more about the customer, and then we talk accordingly. So we know what revenue they have, for example, because they've declared that to us. When we are re-engaging with them, then we'll accordingly talk to them. Certain signals that we collect from our customer base can be then used to create lookalike audiences, for example. And that helps us really go very granular in the way we talk to them. Obviously, the goal is to get clicks, sure. That is and you will identify with that from a performance marketing standpoint. That is always on. When it comes to brand, then what matters a lot is what are we associating with. We did a lot of research, we did customer connects directly, we had agencies figure out surveys, all of that usual mechanism of figuring out what our customers are wanting to associate with, or who are already sort of consuming. And we figured that genres of media are similar across the country. So an MSME will probably prefer watching cricket, news, and movies. And that is what we took up and then diversified our content distribution. So when we are connecting on news channels, I think we met a few India TV guys were here just now, for example. That gives us straight into the north, for example, the Hindi-speaking audience. But every state has their own leaders when it comes to news media. That is already available to us. So all we have to do is just go and make sure that our content is playing alongside that. But data is important. Experiments are important. Once you do all those experiments, you collect all that data, and then you do your media strategy. Obviously, some of these experiments are expensive. So convincing people about these experiments, like we spoke about earlier, is a task, but it's worth it. That's investment into the marketing. That's a very short answer, sorry.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think great insights over there. Just to kind of conclude the entire discussion, I have one last question before we go into the generic closure and the Q&A. So, rules are important in marketing and so are the rules, right? So we need to tread those fine boundaries and be on the right side of it constantly. Especially when you're dealing with a culturally diverse market like India, right? So sometimes it becomes very tricky to make those right choices to ensure that you don't hurt the sentiments, right? Because that's very, very key when it comes to identifying with an audience that is culturally diverse yet sensitive. So question to you, Anil, how do you ensure to plan your strategies to ensure that the sensitivities are navigated in the right way? I know you have a lot to speak, but I would request you to sum it up in a couple of minutes every time.
Yeah, so some things definitely I touched upon, for example, when I said, that I can't promote and talk about a three burner in a Hyderabad or a Vijayawada market, okay. These are certain things, no. And in fact, I have seen brands, okay, doing it and falling apart, okay. I won't name the brand. Last year, for example, they spent crores of rupees, okay, in Hyderabad with all hoardings, boardings, everything with a three burner gas stove. Okay. So these small things you can't actually look at. Or for example, for us it's very key because for example, I can't show a cooker making a pongal in Delhi when I'm campaigning in Delhi over there. Okay. I have to look at all those cultural sensitivities that what dish, because the same thing can be made with different dishes and they would like to see the campaign according to their culture only. And it's very difficult for us because in kitchen appliance, at least, in fact, we are the only organization which are present at pan-India level. If you really see in this industry, most of the players are in the certain region over there. They are strong in that region, but pan-India, not a company like us, anyone who is there. So for us, it's definitely a big in terms of product and in terms of communications also. And over there, in fact, that's why we rely more on the influential videos and all. The local market influencer food bloggers that we have over there, promoting our products over there because that connects to the consumer more than anything else. It's very difficult for a brand to have a single ambassador talking to pan-India level over there. So definitely these are things we take care of and we have our performance marketing management accordingly.
Amazing, amazing. I think what we learn as a part of this shortened session, I just have to take a couple of minutes to so what we learned as a part of this larger or yet meaningful conversation is when it comes to diversification, it's important to understand the boundaries within which we operate. Right? When it comes to, for instance, performance marketing, like Ram very well mentioned, the transactional relatability is more important because you're trying to push through a transaction. So the way in which you customize your communication has to be a lot more culturally relevant in a way that entices them to make a purchase, right? Versus when you're trying to run a brand campaign, right? So the idea for in such a communication, in such a campaign has to be to make an emotional connect, which is a lot more detailed, a lot more nuanced. And I think that's where a lot of communication comes into the play of marketing. And then, of course, when we talk about the product market fit, when we talk about the larger fitment of what we are trying to push through as a part of the business, then identifying the right offering for the right audience, timing it appropriately, basis the culture, basis the demographic you are reaching out to becomes very, very key. So all in all, it's a data game. It's identifying the data, looking at it the right way, and making the best use of it. So I think that's what we learn about the larger play at hand, which is diversification and how we can make it use for ourselves as marketeers. Before we conclude, I would want to open the forum in case anyone has any questions for any of us over here specifically. I'll just take one question if anybody wants to have any, like if anyone has any questions. Else we are good to go. You can raise a hand if anyone. I think we are good. Awesome then. Thanks Adgully, thanks Ram, Anil, Lakshman for being a part of this panel. It was lovely to have this wonderful chat and I hope we all were able to derive
Thank you.
Thanks for this opportunity.
Thanks, Adgully.
Thank you so much.